I'm your podcast host, learning leader, faculty, researcher, speaker, coach, consultant, and author of the book, Dream Big and Live Your Dreams Boldly. Through my Dream Big and Boldly Academy, I help many leaders make their leadership dreams a reality. So if that's what you're interested in, sure, by all means, reach out to me via info@emklearningsolutions.com. For those who are listening for the first time, welcome to the Empowerment Minutes podcast. We so appreciate you joining the show. For those who are already a fan, welcome back. This week, I read the book 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth by John Maxwell and the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership by John Maxwell. So, I read daily from great leaders. John Maxwell is a mentor and one of the leaders I do admire. I'm sure as a leader you take time to grow yourself as well. So maybe through reading, maybe through podcasting, maybe like listening to my podcast, or even taking courses, attending conferences. Maybe you're part of my DBBA tribe, right? Those who have taken my courses. Thank you for investing in yourself as a leader. All these laws are great and make a difference in my leadership. And so I believe they're going to make a difference in your leadership as well. So permit me share just 4 out of these laws with you. Remember that personal growth precedes professional growth, right? So I will share 2 laws on personal growth and then 2 laws on leadership. The first law I want to share is the law of intentionality. The law of intentionality says growth doesn't just happen. So for example, you're a doctor, right, today. Maybe, not by magic, I hope. It took years of studying, right? Sacrifice to eventually complete the program. And now you're a doctor. So you had to be intentional about your own growth, right? Or maybe you're a gardener. Say you're into gardening. And you have to harvest food from your garden, right? But it didn't just happen that day. You had to plant the seeds. You had to water the plants daily, remove all the weeds so they don't choke the plants. And so doing all of this is what helped you to make sure that you're able to harvest the crops. So when it comes to our own personal growth, when we're not intentional, then we have other things like growth traps. And these are the things that hold us back from being intentional. So growth traps, a common one might be, it's not the right time, right? So maybe say, when it comes to maybe learning a new skill, you're like, okay, it's not the right time. Or you want to start saying, I don't know enough, right? And another common one is, what if I fail, right? So some focus on accidental growth versus intentional growth. So this law is about you being intentional about your own growth. As a leader, how intentional are you about your own growth? Intentional growth takes commitment and work daily. So you have to work on your calendar. You got to be able to set aside time to grow yourself daily. The second law I'm going to talk about is the law of awareness, which says you have to know yourself to grow yourself. This is another good one. Can you answer the question, who are you? Right? Another question, what are you good at? What are you not so good at? How can you leverage your strengths? How can you lead from a position of strengths? As a leader, how can you lead really from a position of strength? Let's say you want to go out to dinner, right? You want to look for the best restaurant to go to. I don't know anyone who would be eager to pay for what's average, so you start searching for an average restaurant to go have dinner. Really? No one does that, right? Who does that? Or let me go listen to an average speaker, right? Or maybe an average comedian. No one likes to pay for average. So once you know yourself, right, and know what you and who you are and what you are good at, and you focus on developing those strength areas, you will be performing at your best and you're giving your best to the team. One thing that leaders sometimes, suffer from is lack of confidence. But when you're functioning or you're leading from a position of strength, the lack of confidence is taken care of because you're already confident because you know you're doing it so well. The fourth law is the law of process. This is another good one. The law of process says leadership develops daily, not in a day. I would share an interesting story. When I was in high school, probably also in college, many of my friends wouldn't study, right? We just play around, and last minute you want to, just fool yourself that within 6 hours you want to study the material they should have studied for months and hope to excel at the exam. Never happened. Some of my students, even now, I see that happen in my classes where they're like not serious about their work and want to wait till last minute, and I tell them, don't make these mistakes. I know what I'm talking about. There's a reason you have a curriculum and there's a reason you have a syllabus, right? Follow the syllabus. A semester takes 16 weeks. When I'm teaching my classes, it's 16 weeks. I tell my students, you don't want to wait till when you have a test or when you have an exam. It's not going to take you anywhere. So when I give them that advice and I really follow up with them, I see that once they take the advice, it really makes a huge difference. So if that's you listening and you're a leader and you're thinking that, being a leader is going to happen overnight, it's not going to happen. Good food takes time to prepare, right? Even if you went to go to fast food, it takes time to put the food together. As a leader, you have to be intentional about developing yourself daily. What can you do to grow yourself daily? What can you do to grow your team daily? The last law I'll share tonight is the law of the inner circle, which says a leader's potential is determined by those closest to him or her. And that's so true. A lot of my success are attributed to those who are around me. And so I'm very intentional about my circle. Who you do have around you determines how far you can go, and that's so true. Are you intentional about your inner circle? What's your selection criteria? Do you just allow people to find themselves in your circle, or you're intentional about this, about who you have in your circle? And when you're selecting those who are in your circle, do you consider your values? Do you make sure that you share similar values? Are they your mentors? Can you learn from them? Are they invested in their own personal growth? When you have some people in your circle, you want those who can impact your life, right? So maybe they need to lift you up when you need help from them. Are they interested in lifting others up, including you, and vice versa? Remember that with leadership, it can get lonely at the top. You need to have a great inner circle to reach your full potential. Think about when a leader is going through a crisis, right? If they do not have an inner circle, what happens? So I want to challenge you to build your inner circle. There are many other laws I can share, but we'll stick to this for now and hope you have the time to reflect and make some changes. So let me know which of these laws resonate with you. How can you apply them? Can your team also benefit from this? That's it for this week's podcast. Thank you for tuning in. Be safe, be well, and I'll see you same time next week. Until then, stay blessed. This is Dr. Maurine Kwende, Empowerment Minutes Podcast.